Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Lang. With me, as always, is my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Cloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles. How is you?
Are you ready to fucking pitch a podcast full of ideas and probably plot holes? Yes, pitch an episode of a podcast.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we did that. Maybe like first 10 episodes. You were doing that all the time, and now it's back.
Yeah, now it's back. It's my new thing. It's my new running joke.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to pitch a television series?
I am.
Where you have all sorts of ideas and concepts and characters and...
I got a killer title, Charlie.
Oh, a killer title. That's exciting.
Killer title.
Ooh, what's the killer
Maybe
title?
literally. Oh, because it's a detective story. Boom.
Ooh, detective.
It's called Hardboiled Noir.
I like it. Hardboiled Noir. Is it... We should have... Okay, I'm just thinking for the, poster for this show, right? It's, in the classic, noir films of the 50s, the 40s, and the 50s. They have the black, blocky... Or the white blocky text with the big, thick, black shadows, And this, kind of, gray film grain over the top of it.
Yeah.
And it's just hard-boiled. And then we have a picture of it, like an egg that's cracking, and on the egg is written the words
the hard-boiled part does not come from an actual egg. There's a whole genre of detective stories called hard-boiled detective stories.
Oh, is there?
Which is it's a detective story when the detective is very unsentimental and doesn't care much. It's the classic noir detective. It's the guy in a smoky room staring through blinds. He's a private eye. And then someone comes in and is like, Jerry, I got a case for you. And he's like, I don't do cases no more. It's like, but we need you, Jers. He's like,
Is your main character's name Jerry?
No, I do have a character named Jers, though.
Oh, Jers. I like it. Don't keep me in suspense. I want to hear all about this hard-boiled noir story of deceit and deception and crime and probably a couple of punches and some drinking and probably a dame.
Well... We start off, as all good detective stories start off, with a case.
Oh, a case.
Our protagonist, or one of our protagonists, Dusty Hawkins Picasso. Dusty Hawkins is her name. The people call her, the people at the office call her Picasso, because she carries a large, art notebook, like a sketchbook. A huge one you'd use for drawing watercolors or something like that, or painting watercolors. Because she likes to have a big space to take her notes, and also draw pictures to go with her notes to help with piece the case together. Mm-hmm. So Picasso is not really they're not calling her because they're being nice. They're calling her because they're making fun of her.
Yeah, because she's got a big goofy notebook that she carries around.
She's not a young detective. She's probably late 30s, maybe early 40s, probably late 30s. Unsentimental, calloused, emotionally restricted, sees everything very logically.
Probably smokes.
Does smoke. Her apartment is very minimalistic. It's full of books, very little furniture. Mm-hmm. The only life in it is one houseplant that she waters methodically.
Okay. I'm imagining her apartment as being an attic apartment, very German expressionism, lots of sharp lines. The ceilings aren't, they don't go all the way up. They're just diagonally, they end because she's on the roof. Mm-hmm. And the bookcases are built in, and they've got an ascending order.
She's got one fork, one spoon, one plate, one bowl, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay, she's one of those people.
Doesn't need more.
One of the people.
She's a loner.
Yeah. That's me. I have one fork in my entire house, and it's right here.
You're insane.
Because I had mac and cheese the other day.
Okay, thanks, Charles. She doesn't care for people, and is awfully silent unless provoked or threatened into, little clever remarks. So if someone's rude to her, she'll shut you down, or get into a fight.
Shut you down right quick.
Okay, she's got kind of a short temper. Has a talent for making enemies, and has been kicked through every department in Washington State. That's where they are, Washington State.
Okay. Oh, very nice. Having a noir story not take place in Chicago or New York. I like it.
Different placing.
Different placing.
So she's finally ended up in the state PD because she's a good detective, but no one likes her, essentially, because she's too good to kick off the force, but everyone thinks she's an asshole.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about promotions, kind of just wants to stay a detective. She's content with her world as it is. She's a smoker, loose tie, leather jacket or overcoat, and a baseball cap is generally her outfit.
Yeah. Okay.
Big thing about her is that she probably one of the reasons she doesn't make many friends is because she doesn't hang out at the office ever. She'll go to get case files and stuff, but she works at the Midnight Diner. That's where she has like a booth there that she pays the owner for, and that's where her office is, just at the diner.
I like that. That's actually that's a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's got like her initials scratched into the table.
Yep.
You know,
it's her booth. You know, she pays extra for that booth.
We could have like a fun scene in the first, episode where she walks into the diner and she said like she nods at the waitress that she sees all the time and like waves at the chef behind the through the window, and then they kind of like sheepishly like look at her and then look away, and then their eyes dart over to her booth, and there's just like a couple of college kids sitting in their booth. Maybe it's like a couple and they're on a date, they're sipping malts, and then she like goes over there and like ashes their cigarette and their milkshake or whatever and like threatens the shit out of them, and the guy gets up, is like, hey, I'm not gonna hit a woman, but I'm not gonna take this sort of abuse either. And then she pulls out her badge and says, I think you will, son. Like, get the hell out of here.
Just casually, puts the cigarette out in the milkshake. For like, what the hell? It's like, you're in my booth. I'm like, I don't, yeah. And then just, puts the badge and the gun on the table.
Mm-hmm.
It's a subtle notice, but, not very subtle.
Yeah, not incredibly subtle, but it's like she didn't throw him out through the window, so subtle enough.
Her partner can be with her at this point, and her partner, who we'll get into in a minute, can be upset with this situation. Be like, you can't threaten him like that. And Dusty would be like, oh, I was just putting my gun down.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
What?
However,
I don't
if they take it differently, that's on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's on them. Anyways,
kids from
we arrive. Dusty and her partner Brian Cole arrive in Hoodsport, Washington, on the edge of Olympic National Forest. They've been called out there for a murder, because they work homicide. I don't know if we explained that, but a detective story. It's not gonna be a drug thing. Yeah. It's gotta be homicide.
Yeah, what's it gonna be? Vice?
Yeah.
It's gotta be homicide.
Interesting. Anyway, they enter the local PD, are briefed about the body of a little boy named Barry Harmon, and they've taken him down to the morgue. They found him in the park, and then they brought him here. Dusty goes ballistic when she hears this. She's like, you took him away from the crime scene? What kind of like, D-level detectives have we got out here in Hoodsport? Like, roasting everyone, making fun of them, and making all the local PD feel like shit for moving the body. And one officer talks back to her, and she almost punches him in the face, but her partner, Brian, holds her back and pulls her off him.
Mm-hmm.
He's pissed because she's made a scene. And he's like, let's just go see the body. And they go check it out, and it's completely drained of blood. No blood in this kid.
Oh, no
which
blood
is strange,
at all.
obviously. Dusty notes that it's like it was sucked out of him, because it was not like he would bleed out. He couldn't have bled out through all of his wounds this much. There'd be still some blood left.
Of course, but it's all gone, like an empty glass at a malt shop.
Yeah, we'll have lots of dialogue like that.
Yeah. All right, good. And everyone's gonna be smoking inside the morgue, because that's the era for it.
I'm thinking she smokes.
Mm-hmm.
That you're not supposed to smoke, and someone will say, hey, you're not supposed to smoke in here, and she'll blow smoke in their face. Keep going.
Oh, she's smoking in every room she goes into. I think that's a good...
Yeah.
Like, maybe we never, unless she's, like, in the shower or whatever, but even then, maybe she's, like, holding a cigarette outside of the shower, just, like, above the, curtain so it doesn't get wet.
And get a window Well, some showers have windows at like the top, you know. She could open that and she could blow out the window. Or like,
yeah,
have
but
it up
like
there.
every scene, she has a cigarette, or she's lighting a cigarette, or she's like, look, you know, her pack is empty, and she's like going to buy a new pack of cigarettes. You know, the whole 9 yards. I think that's fun, like a John Constantine level of smoking habit.
So, you know, all the blood's out of the wound. Cole, her partner Brian Cole, is still upset about how she handled that situation originally, and then he's saying that he wants them to hand the case over, because they've already compromised the relationship with local PD. Dusty's dismissing him, and she's like, "No, this is my case." She wants to go to the scene where they found the boy, so she wants to like hike up into the mountain, and it's like already like 5 p.m. and Cole's pissed because he's like, you know, I want to go home. I got a wife and kids. I don't want to do this. And she's like, well, we got to go. But he's like, I drove, so I'm going back. And she knows that local PD is not going to give her a ride. So she has to go with Cole. So she's pissed, obviously, that she has to go back. And she's upset that he wants to hand over the case. They're arguing on the way back. So they go back.
You know, she's pissed off. Maybe it's like he just got his car's interior done, and she's like making sure to make all the smoke stay inside the car.
Yeah.
So it just reeks, and like ashing the cigarette inside the car, so it like leaves little burn marks everywhere. You know, just being an asshole.
Yep. Switch perspective. It's Sakura Sato's first day at Washington State Police as a detective. Sakura Sato is a young new officer who just made detective and wants to make a difference. She wants to help people. She's a second-generation immigrant, very friendly, wants to get ahead and quickly rise in the department. She's very ambitious. She wants to be a captain. Clothes-wise, everything she wears is very like finely pressed and neat. Like she. You know, it's not like an OCD thing or anything like that, but like she dresses very nicely for the job because she has high respect for it. Unlike, you know, Dusty, who's loose tie, crappy jacket.
Loose tie. Maybe Sakura, she's wearing like a nice, you know, pressed pantsuit, like a more feminine, you know, outfit. Whereas Dusty, she's just dressed in like very unisex, you know, clothes that are baggy and maybe not baggy as much as they are just like plain and not very, you know, kept well.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly got some ash stains on them. Might not have been washed recently. Well, Sato has like every stain's been like pressed out, and she's, you know, gets new clothes and she washes her clothes and stuff. Like a saint person, I guess.
Like some sort of a lunatic washing and drying their clothes. I just bundle all my dirty clothes up into a pile, and that's what I sleep on. Yeah,
I know. That's what you do.
Yeah, it's good.
He's not even joking. It's sad.
You're right. I'm not joking.
Hard cut to Sato, who's starting her first day as detective. She's recently been promoted, and Captain Sykes is helping her get situated. He pulls her into his office and starts explaining that she's going to be partnered with Detective Billox. We immediately pan over to Billox, who's like picking his nose and is like, you know, has this like he's a bit larger of a guy, you know.
He's got a big belly. That maybe the bottom button of his shirt is like unbuttoned, so she can just see like the hairy navel, right?
He's a bit of a dim-witted man. She knows he doesn't really see action and immediately asks for someone else because she knows she'll only handle like super low-stakes cases because he never wants to do anything that sees action.
Yeah.
But the captain's like, well, that's all I have. You know, that's all I got. At that moment, Dusty and Brian burst in a torrent of an argument.
Yeah.
The whole police department is watching them scream at each other. Mainly Brian screaming at Dusty like with a stoic voice, saying like terribly mean things.
Yeah. All right. Good. I like it.
And you know, he'll fucking stomp out her cigarette like, snatch the cigarette from her mouth and stomp it out, and she'll throw a punch at him, and then the whole police department will, like, hold them back.
Yeah, they, grab them on each side, they pull them apart, they're, sweaty, they're, maybe Dusty's tie has been tightened up into a normal tie. That's, because it's the opposite of what happens in a normal scuffle.
Yeah.
Right? Because her tie is
a little comedic detail there, yeah.
And it gets couthed when she gets, scuffled, but his tie gets undone, and he's like, yeah. It's a whole thing. Captain gets in the middle of him and was like, calm down.
Yeah, he cuts their crap and sits them down, sort of hear what's been going on. They vent about the case and stuff and how they hate each other. And he ultimately decides to split them up and give the case to someone else. Dusty doesn't like that. She's fine with splitting up, but she wants the case. She's like arguing she wants to work it solo. But Psych says she needs a partner to go out, and no one here will work with her anymore, so she might have to leave the department. Oh no, but Sakura, all of a sudden, from the rafters, yells that she'll join her, to the surprise of everyone.
Yeah.
Because she's like, she knows who Dusty is. Dusty's a name that people know around the department. Picasso, everyone knows who Picasso is. She may, have that book, but she is an artist detective when it comes to what she can get done.
Maybe she was maybe she had a big break when she was a young detective, and like her name got kind of like a little famous because she caught like a famous killer or something, right? So she's like the Picasso police officer or something like that, and then she gets.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Picasso police officer just sounds stupid.
Yeah, she gets promoted to police. She gets promoted to detective, and then we can have like a fun little conversation when Sakura is driving Dusty. It's like to the crime scene.
Well, we'll get to the conversation on the drive in a second here. So Brian storms off. Says he's going home. Brian Cole. And Sakura and Dusty get situated. They're like, okay, I guess we'll be partners. Dusty immediately is like, all right, we're going up to Hoodsport. And she's like, but okay, but like, it's kind of late in the day. I thought we would start this early tomorrow. And she's like, no, we're going tonight. You're gonna be my partner. We're starting tonight. And she's like, okay. She calls her significant other. His name's Gerald. Jers, for short. And it's like, hey, I'm going to be coming in late because it's going out, doing detective stuff. He's like,
doing detective crimes.
He's disappointed because they had dinner plans, but he's like, oh, it's okay. I guess.
Yeah, it's
You're
your first day on the job. I thought we were.
You got to go out.
Have a nice
She's
day.
like, I know. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am, honey. I'm a hero, and you're not. Goodbye.
Fucking loser. Anyway, Sakura and Dusty head out to Hoodsport with dwindling daylight. Dusty's mostly avoiding Sakura's questions and is sort of giving her like philosophical answers. Like this, for example. Sakura will be like, are you dating anyone? And Dusty will say, no, it doesn't suit me. Doesn't suit you? I don't need a person yapping and fumbling through my life in a vain attempt to bring happiness. Relationships, marriages, they all end the same way. Till death do we part. I've worked homicide long enough to know that when those words ring true, I'll be knocking at your door. Besides, love is only a dose needed to fill our inane urges. A way to make sacks of meat feel like they mean more than they do. Once you recognize that and fully come to terms with this illusion we all strive under, then you see you don't need it. You see, it's all just a construct to protect our weary heads from the harsh reality. And, Sakura obviously does not know how to handle things like that. Like, oh, I just met you.
Okay.
I didn't need this weird, philosophy that you got hanging on.
Yeah. This weird, like, pseudo-pretentious philosophy that's just like, I don't want to answer your questions. And then she's, dramatically, she's dragging the cigarette, and she's like, just another way for sexy meat like us to feel like we matter.
I don't know who we need to play Dusty, but it has to be someone that's got killer dramatic delivery for this stuff. Because this stuff will only seem, like, cool if you got someone...
If you get the right
person, because if you get the wrong person, it's gonna sound kind of like pretentious or lame, or like, oh my god, I hate this stupid dialogue. but you want it to sound like this person like really believes it, and also like just doesn't care about anything.
Yeah, they're a loose cannon. She's on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't care about anything besides her next case.
Yep. So they arrive and they hike up the path in the darkness. Sakura has serious doubts. She's starting to think her partner is gonna kill her. She's like, Dusty is insane. This is crazy. But they reach the cave. They find a lightly stained floor, which Sakura thinks is from the rain. And owl bones scattered from the site. They pull them out and they're like, oh, owl bones, that's strange. Episode 2. They head back to the station and they take the bones to the forensic lab, where they're told the owl was killed around the same time as the boy. Dusty is immediately convinced that this is a serial killer. She's like, it's starting to get, it feels like this person's done this before, based on the wounds on the body, the lack of blood, and these bones. I'm thinking that there's some sort of, this has to be a serial killer, possibly with some sort of religious connotations.
This is a practiced hand.
Sakura is like, you're jumping to crazy conclusions here, man. Like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. But you know, it's late in the night now, so Dusty heads to the diner to work more, and Sakura heads home to Gerald's.
I would like it if, like, pretty much for the whole show, Dusty is talking in these, like, pseudo-philosophical, you know, ramblings about, like, you know, oh, this is the end, you know, you know, what are we if not just dreaming dreamers sitting and idle while we wait for the next turn of the key or something or other, like, stuff like that. You know, I was thinking, you know,
I'm thinking she says stuff like that, like she has like these weird philosophical statements, but she's not like just babbling constantly, you know, like she's someone who does not talk unless spoken to. And like it's not like she's annoying with it. Yeah, I don't want it to be annoying.
Sakura should be like I agree with you. It shouldn't be annoying. It should be interesting and thought-provoking. But I think Sakura should also just talk normally. Like she doesn't ever like indulge in that. Yeah. And so it's just like, what? Yeah. Like sometimes it should make sense and be like reasonable. And Sakura is like, oh, okay. And then other times she should be like, what? Just talk like a normal person.
Yeah.
But Dusty's just like, whatever, kid. You'll get it when you're older. She takes another drag of her cigarette. When you've worked this job as long as I have. And that's the end of the sentence. She stops talking.
Walks away. Drops the mic. Drops the cigarette. Splash in a little puddle. Crunches it with her foot. Cut to black. Hardboiled Noir.
Hardboiled Noir.
Anyways, still going here. It was more to the show than that. Like it. That's the end of the show right there. That was where it ended. We play a slog episode right there. One episode.
Hardboiled Noir.
Anyway,
it might be a silly.
So they head back to the station. They've worked through the night into the next day, and they go they drive back. They're doing more work. They decide to head home a little early. You know, it's like 3 or something. You know. Like normally you'd work till like 5 or whatever, but they work through the night, so they get to leave early. And Dusty goes to the diner to continue working. Sakura heads home to see Jers, who's all excited about their plans to go out, but Sakura is feeling a bit wheezy and sick after the events of the day. You know, she just saw a dead boy because they went to the morgue first, or after they went to the what's it called? After they went to the cave, and she went to the cave up there. She's all tired. She saw some crazy stuff. Kind of just wants to hang out at home. Gerald's disappointed. Yeah, just wants to crawl up in a ball and pretend none of it happened. Gerald's disappointed, tries to comfort her, but she wants to be alone. You know, she doesn't want to burden him with the pain of what she has to experience on a daily basis.
Yeah, she's one of those people.
Mm-hmm. At the diner, Dusty eats and goes through old case files. We could probably do the scene here that you were talking about with the gun, or
with the badge shop and the gun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Put it on the table, scaring away the kids.
Teens.
She's eating and going through old case files, and she finds another dead boy of similar injuries in a cold case file from a few years ago. The boy died by Mount Rainieri. Boom. She's like, serial killer case is starting to shape up.
Next. I've got a lead now. We've got a lead.
Next thing, boom. Early in the morning, they head out for Mount Rainieri. Gerald's upset because how they leave is Dusty shows up at Sakura's house.
I was going to say that would be
5 in the morning
doing it.
And she's like, we gotta go, come on, we got work to do. Gerald's like, she is not leaving, what are you talking about? And while he's like arguing at Dusty, I say at Dusty because Dusty's just not responding. She's just smoking her cigarette, looking at Sato, as Gerald, says like she can't just show up at the house, like this is, not respectful, blah 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 blah. Sato is getting ready for work and like just walks past him and says like, oh, bye Jairus, love you. And he's like, what? No, you can't leave. What is this? Are you going with her? This is insane. He's like, I've got to go to work. I'm sorry. And then they leave. Long car ride to Mount Rainieri. Obviously, we can get some more cool, fun dialogue. Dusty is trying to get to, or Sakura's trying to get to know Dusty. And Dusty's talking more openly. She started to feel more comfortable with Sato, but still full of philosophy and very stoic. She talks about how her dad worked all around the world, taking the job. So she's traveled a lot. She has a lot of different skills because of that. Her mom left them because Dusty, was a product of a one-night stand that she just wanted to get rid of. So she left it with the dad.
Oh, okay.
Her mom was some rich European socialite and just ditched the baby. And Sakura's like, oh, I'm sorry. Dusty's like, I don't see the point of your sorry. What's that?
Fucking pity.
I don't need pity. There's nothing to be sorry about.
Answers.
I'm content with my life. There's no problems with it. She's like, life is awful to begin with. So what's the point of trying to make it better?
Sorry.
To sort of, lighten things up, Sakura talks about her boyfriend and how they met in high school, which Dusty does not have nice things to say about.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you couple of high school sweethearts came to the big city thinking you're gonna make it big. You're gonna fall in love and live the rest of your life happily ever after. 2.5 kids and a white picket fence. Ha! Never heard a bigger joke.
So,
punchline is the American dream.
Oh my God, Charlie.
Maybe a little bit less melodramatic than that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. They arrive and search around. Sakura is going on about how they won't find anything. She's also a little upset about Dusty for shitting on her relationship. But Dusty finds another owl. Boom.
A fun scene in the car where they're driving, and Dusty's like, I'm hungry. You want to, pull into a drive-thru? Or I don't know if they had a drive-thru in the 50s or whatever. What time period does this take place in? Oh, modern day. I don't know why I thought this took place in the 50s. Modern day. But, they stop in a drive-thru, and Sakura's like, no, my boyfriend packed me a packed lunch. You can have something if you want. And she's just, like, rummaging through it and being like, this sucks. This is terrible. This is all shit. She, like, tosses out the window. It's like, stop the McDonald's. Show the disrespect she has for her boyfriend and anyone in a happy-ish relationship.
Yeah, but we can't do McDonald's because we have someone. Dusty's like someone that's in a very minimalistic lifestyle, so I feel like she's all about eating exactly what she needs to survive and provide her body with the right nutrients to do the job well. So she's probably like about eating well kind of person.
Okay.
Like I imagine she probably works out and tries to stay in tip-top shape and all that, and her only vice is the cigarettes. It's like her one counter to her philosophy is that she's addicted to the nicotine.
Yeah, so maybe she's just like, stops into a Whole Foods, gets one apple and like one bottle of water and doesn't even get Sakura anything. It's like, let's go. I don't know. You want a bite? She's like already taking a bite out of the apple. And it's like, you want a bite?
Yeah.
No, I'm good, thank you. Chewing with her mouth open, of course, because she has to establish dominance.
No, I'm not gonna do that. So, they get the animal bones. Starting to see, there's definitely a connection between these two cases. It's very clear. So, Sato is sort of like looking up myths and stuff, and Dusty's went to the local library to see if they can find any old books about myths in the area, and talk to librarians about it, because maybe they read the books or something. And Sato also calls the station to see if they can get another case file, another one that Dusty saw from the previous night, but didn't check up on because they were gonna do this one first. And they go to check that out, and they find owl bones just like the last one. So now they got three dead boys with no blood and owl bones just nearby. Sato also notes the weird stain on the floor. She said it was just like the other two. And Dusty chips out a bit of the floor. End of episode 3. Boom.
We can end the episode with just as the hammer is about to come down on top of the chisel for the chipping to happen. It goes to black, and we just hear one clink.
Clink. Boom.
Silence.
Or
credits. Created by Jake Gloth. Produced by Charles McFadden. I wouldn't be producing it. Co-written. I'll say co-writer. But yeah.
Co-writer. Episode written by Charles McFadden.
Episode ending sound effect written by Charles Lung.
This is a show where I feel like if it ever did get made, or if I ever write a script for it, and there was a writer's room for, I feel like for every episode, if I was the showrunner, I'd have to write Dusty's dialogue, because I don't think anyone will get what I want.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think anyone will get it. They won't do it exactly right, and I'm going to have to rewrite it.
Rewrite the whole episode.
Just the dialogue, probably. Anyways, so...
End each week by murdering the writer's room.
Yep.
Get a whole new writer's room. Including me. You kill me also. It's fine. It's good.
All right, I'm going to run through the rest of it pretty quickly, because I don't want y'all to get too bogged down in this stupid little mystery I've got going on.
Fun little mystery you've got going.
Well, actually, let me hear your theory. Where do you think this has gone so far?
I was going to say it was some sort of vampire, but if all 3 of the boys had been drained of blood and they hadn't noticed a recurring wound, then I would say it's probably not a vampire, and I would say that because of their red herrings are necessary for mystery plots, it's not a religious thing. It's something else. It's some sort of a psychosis, or maybe a weird cult, like a secret society that has been hunting and killing boys for decades, because it's part of their it's what they like to do because they're rich, and rich people can get away with anything because it's modern society.
Oh.
That's my guess.
No.
Oh, okay.
So, they analyze the stain of the department to find that it's the blood of the kid, and they agree to split up and get the samples from the other 2 kids. But on the way back, because Sato's going to one, and obviously Dusty's going to another one. As Sato's driving alone, she gets a call from Gerald. He's upset because he's like, you're not coming home again. This is crazy. You gotta come home. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I gotta do this, and then I'll come home. And, we sort of get the idea that through the show, Gerald and Sato, her relationship's kind of going to fall apart because of her job. Mm-hmm. She never has any time for him, for anything besides work.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have this compounding, so it's not just her and Gerald, it's also maybe her and her friends who are not spending as much time together because she's always working.
Mm-hmm. We could have a fun montage in the first episode that could be, or maybe the second episode, depending on how you want to play it, of Dusty working and figuring things out and solving cases before Sakoto becomes, is it Sakoto or Sakuro?
Sakura Sato.
Sakura Sato.
Sakura.
Yeah, but like before before her first day, it's like her and her friends are like doing shots, and they're, she's celebrating with her boyfriend, and it's like this fun night.
Yeah.
And it's cut with Dusty having just a miserable night of doing police work, and then we can have a similar, montage later in the season where it's, Dusty going around. She's like talking to people, she's meeting up with her contacts in the underworld, that sort of thing, trying to get some information, while Sakura is just sitting, at home, or maybe even in the diner, depending on how far we want to take the parallels between the two of them, just doing the work while her boyfriend is out, like, having fun with her friends, right? And then maybe we could have, like, oh my god, he kissed one of her friends, or one of her friends kissed him, and he, like, leaned in. He didn't pull away because he's missing his girlfriend so much, right? Be a fun thing. Fun little parallels.
All right, here we go. So, Dusty has to get back to talking with her old partner, Brian Cole, because Brian was the lead detective on almost all these cases of these little boys with the blood drained. And she wants to get, like, the first detective sort of accounts on this stuff. And he's, not happy to talk to her, so he doesn't really help at all.
He doesn't like her very much, does he?
Nah, so he won't help her, which is a big setback for her, because she can't get, like, the perspective from him. But it's clear he knows something to her. Like, she's like, he knows something, but he's not telling me just because he hates me. Which is, annoying and not very productive. And she's upset. She's like yelling at him, and she doesn't help the situation because she's makes fun of him for not, solving any of these cases. Like, they all just don't go anywhere. He's like, you don't understand, like, blah, blah, blah. Idiot. And, they throw him off because they're
calls him an idiot, calls him a fool, has
that
some,
kind of
like,
stuff.
Possibly, like, introspective, like, philosophical comment about how his life is, a complete joke because he's, always going to be in the shadow of his father, who was a great, police chief or fireman or something. And
maybe not that much, but something along those lines, yeah.
You've spent your entire life chasing the high that your father lived with his entire life. You're just another daddy's boy working in the police department, trying to find some love that you're never going to find and you're never going to have. And then, he's just pissed off and he leaves. She's just like, shit, that didn't work. My incessant bullying didn't succeed.
So, next, she's looking into the boys, trying to find something related to all of them. And she finds that they all went to wilderness camps the week before they were lost.
Oh.
And she goes to
different wilderness camps or the same wilderness camps?
They're all different.
Oh.
So she goes to one, and she talks with the instructor person, and it's like this really nice, flowery, fun person who's like, "Oh yeah, like campers, woo." You know the type. You know the type.
Yeah, those kinds of people. I was
overly enthusiastic, super fun. She visits him at the camp where they're all like playing and having fun, and she's like, Barry, he was a great kid, really, really good at sharpening sticks. I don't know, something silly. Yeah. Really, really great at
best at canoeing,
tying knots. Great canoeer, that Barry. She's not really getting much from him, and she's like, keeps asking a question. He's like, is there anything you give him at the end? Anything that might have sent him back out into the wood? And he's like, I don't know. Well, we give him like their own rope cords and blah blah blah. That's about it. And then she goes to talk to the parents and sees like if there's anything they can remember about like their child before they were leaving. And she said she could hear the kid talking in his room that night, and she walked in to ask him what he was doing, and he like skirted around and like clearly hid something, and then I was like, nothing, Mom. I'm just being a kid. Boo.
Yeah.
As kids say. all the time.
And then all the time. I remember when I was a kid, I would say, "Ugh, Mom, stop coming into my room. I'm just being a kid."
Yep. And so, Mom, a little suspicious. Ooh, something strange there. But don't know what it is. And so
she's overcome with grief, so she won't let the detective go into his room to look around because she was rude. Because Dusty's rude.
So Dusty and Sato, they're off again. Sato's still dealing with her whole relationship thing, which is sort of bleeding into her work because she's not working as well. And Dusty gives help that doesn't really help,
Yeah.
It's the advice that's just sort of mean, and it's like, I don't really give a crap about any of your problems. Maybe Sato's venting, and Dusty's like, I really don't care at all about anything you have to say. Just work, come on.
Unless it has to do with these 3 dead kids, I do not want to hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dusty takes a drag of a cigarette, and Sakura's like, so, find any new leads lately? And Dusty's like, there, you're getting it. Yes, here.
Yep.
And she lays it out.
They split up. Sato goes and visits another one of the kids' parents. Goes to the room, finds a walkie-talkie that says adventure, whatever.
Adventureland camp.
Adventure wilderness camps. She's like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And the parent tells her that the wilderness camp gave her walkie-talkies. She's like, oh, that's interesting. Still working on it. Dusty's convinced there's still some sort of myth behind this. And she's been going around to all different types of people on her own at night, trying to figure out what this myth is, all these different cult places and stuff like that. And eventually, she's led to this old member of the Yakima tribe, which is a tribe in Washington state, a Native American tribe.
I would like it if we could have one of the scenes be, because people who are in cults, they will have to go to like in real life cults, they will have to go to deprogramming sessions with psychology professors or psychiatrists, and we could have Dusty come in, break in, or crash an AA meeting, but instead of alcohol, it's cults, and just start interviewing people. That could be fun. Yeah.
And so this is when everything is going to come together, because she goes to this old Native American from the Yakima tribe. After trying every little cult she could, she's like, there's somebody that's got to know some sort of old myth that relates. And she's like, well, I guess Native Americans would make sense. Maybe it's some sort of old Native American myth. And she goes to talk to this guy, and it is, boom. She gets to talk to him, and he tells her this is a real myth. Built the whole story around this. It's hard to pronounce. I don't really know how to say it, but the myth is called the Tata Clea, which is about these old ogresses who used to live in northwestern Native America, Northern America. There we go. Northern America. That sounds hard to say. Anyway. These ancient ogresses used to live in the mountains, and they used to sacrifice. They used to steal little boys and kill people, and they were killed by a guy named Owl in a cave, who sort of baited them in with a deer that he drained all of its blood and put in a sack. I don't really know how it all worked out, but he drained all the deer's blood into a sack, and. They killed the last ogress. Boom. And so Dusty's starting to connect it. She thinks it's like they're trying to get revenge, right? Because they're killing the little boys. They're killing an owl. She's starting to see how it all connects. And she sees a symbol related to the Tata Clea. And she's like, that looks really familiar, something about it. And she draws it in her notebook and goes out. She meets with Sato, and they're trying to figure out the case. And they look at the symbol and they compare it to they're comparing it to other stuff, trying to see what they can figure out. And then randomly, Sato mentions the walkie-talkies thing from the one parent, and Dusty puts it all together. She's like, the walkie-talkies. The other parent was telling me about how they were talking late at night to the kid, or like the kid was talking late at night, and she's starting to figure something out. And then they find where they recognize the symbol from, and every single one of the wilderness camps has a very similar logo, and it looks exactly like this symbol.
Oh my god.
Boom.
Boom. I like this. This is a good mystery.
Mm-hmm. And so she's starting to piece together, like, they must be, they like Dusty's like, what they're doing is that they must be give the kids the walkie-talkie. They go home, and then they talk to them over it when they get close to the house to convince them to come out for another adventure. And then they take them and they bring them to the mountain and kill them. And so they go up to this, they start researching these adventure companies, and they find they all have the same parent company. And they only really have a few employees.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a little confused about how this is all, how this has been like hidden for so long. And she's looking at the list of old employees, and little old Brian Cole's name shows up.
I knew he was gonna be one of the suspects. I knew he was gonna be part of it.
The reason that all those cases never went anywhere is because he was always the lead detective.
He was running it, and he was like, no.
And that's why in the beginning he wanted them off the case, because he knew that Dusty would solve it. And that's why he wouldn't tell her anything.
Too damn good.
Yep. And so we get an awesome shootout with Sato and Dusty at the adventure place, because they're going to go up there as they're sort of figuring this all out. Mm-hmm. And they're going to realize they're at the place a little too late. And because Dusty's all gung-ho the way she is, she doesn't really want to call for backup. She wants to go in and get the arrest. So they go in and have an epic shootout with these lunatics. There's three of them. There's two guys and one girl who are like these, overly enthusiastic camp counselors who are actually like these crazy serial killers who believe in this old ogre myth, right? Mm-hmm. And so go through, probably kill one or two, capture one.
Dusty's got a shotgun. She pulled, she hid a shotgun in Sakuro's trunk before they, left on the first day, and she pulls it out and is like, shh, let's get down to business.
Oh, I think
blast somebody away.
So I told you the Brian thing, right? But they actually, Sato is going to run back, and she's going to phone Brian to tell him to come and help out.
Oh no.
But they haven't yet realized that Brian is, the guy.
He's in charge. He's doing the murders, probably.
So that's when, we're going to have, the reveal is going to be when Dusty's walking through the house and she sees, they're going to have, pictures of, old camp counselors and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she's going to see his, and she's going to be like, who did you call? And then Brian's going to shut up with a shotgun or something, and he's going to cause some trouble. But, we'll have some epic fighting scenes. Sato will get shot. Dusty might get shot. Dusty will kill him. Say some cool badass line about how he was a shit partner anyway or something.
Yeah. Ash her cigarette in his gaping wound and let him bleed out as she walks out, carrying her new partner.
Yeah.
She's got one arm over the side. She's like,
well, I want Dusty to be the one that kills him, but Sato's the one that's sort of going to be dragging Dusty out at the end, because we got to have...
Yeah, that's better.
We got to share the glory here between
share
these
the
two.
glory. Sato, Dusty's she's bleeding a lot, and her face is getting kind of pale. She's like, Sato, if I don't make it, I want you to start smoking.
No.
She's like, can you put a cigarette in my mouth and light it? Just as they're driving to the hospital, and she's like, yeah, sure, it's fine.
They can have some nice thing about how, Dusty says that, don't worry about Gerald. He wasn't good enough for you anyway, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you get, the idea that, her harsh words throughout the thing all about Gerald and about them being high school sweethearts. It's not because she was being, just being an asshole, but she genuinely saw that, just this relationship where she's been going at it with this one person for so long, and hasn't seen anyone else.
Yeah.
It's not good for them, and they haven't. It's clear to her that they're not really good matches. They've just decided to be with each other. And we get this begrudging friendship between Dusty and Sato, where they're friends, but also Dusty's still kind of an asshole. And Sato is kind of just the one person that in the police department that likes Dusty for what for how crazy she is. She's she might be insane, but I can appreciate her in some ways, I guess. Mm-hmm. But they solved the case. Hardboiled Noir. That's the story.
Hardboiled Noir. And the final, we can have the credits and everything. We have a post-credit scene, and they're eating breakfast at the diner. Dusty's been patched up and stitched up and everything.
Yeah.
Sato's maybe on crutches, or not on crutches, but she's also a little patched up, and they're eating breakfast together. Dusty's just never had the food here before.
Yeah, something stupid.
It's really bad. Cut, credits, song, Hardboiled Noir, season 2. Hardboiled Noir.
What do you think the song should be for Hardboiled
continue.
Noir? What's a very detective song?
Very detective song. I don't know. I'm thinking something from what's that album? Shit, what's that album called? It's The Chain. It's by a very famous band. It's a good song by a very famous band.
Are you talking about
Fleetwood Mac?
Fleetwood Mac. The
Get
Chain.
a Fleetwood Mac song in there. I think that would be cool.
I was thinking of doing The Lion's Roar by First Aid Kit.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard that song.
Too. I have not. But
I'll send it to you. Boom. There you go. YouTube video.
Lion's Roar by First Aid Kit. Right,
it's got a nice sort of you could look it up too, listeners, because I'm not gonna play it because it's probably illegal. But yeah, it's a nice sort of folksy song. Not quite folk, but I feel like it's got the sort of outdoorsy vibe the show's got. So yeah.
All right. I liked Hardboiled Noir a lot. Mm-hmm. I was ooh, because sometimes when we do a mystery, sometimes it's a little hit or miss.
Yeah.
Because it's sometimes we can just guess, each other's endings. I know my mysteries are a little predictable sometimes, but this one it threw me for a loop. It was good.
It's
hard. Didn't know what was going to happen next.
Mysteries are hard, you gotta.
They are hard.
Gotta throw them for a loop.
Yeah, but all right.
I thought the old Native American myth would be hard to predict.
It was. I was thinking myths. Dusty thinks it's a myth. Is it a Native American myth? Is it? I don't know. Yeah. Well, I didn't see it coming, but good on you. And there's a secret, organization within these summer camps that are all maybe they've been doing it for way longer. They've killed way more than just 3 kids. It's just
yeah,
they've covered it up better than before, but modern technology has made it so it's much harder to cover up these kinds of deaths, right, or something like that. But yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
You know what? I think I changed my mind about the ending song. I think this should be the ending song, but it should also be the intro song because I like that. Mm-hmm. We got a long intro with I don't know, something that helps sort of prescribe the aesthetic of the series, which I'm thinking is very much a fall, very misty, mountain airy,
misty
aesthetic.
Mountains.
It's cold, a little damp, lots of mist.
A lot of mist, a lot of a Twin Peaks, but a little bit saner sort of vibe.
Mm-hmm. The mist, helps add to the mystery and sort of the ethereal and mystical nature of what they're investigating. With all this cult stuff. Like
that feeling that you get when you get out of the shower.
American myth, but yeah.
Yeah, but that feeling you get when you get out of a shower, get fully dressed, and go outside, but it's still it's humid outside, so you never get fully dry.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire day, you're still just a little damp all day.
You're always stuck in it. That's sort of the idea of the show, is that they're always stuck in the case. They can't get out of the case.
Yeah. That's good. All right. Well, thank you all.
Breathing into their outside lives, yeah.
Yeah. And their outside lives are bleeding into the case, changing things, altering them, making it harder or easier to solve. Yeah, I dig it. I like it a lot. But thank you all for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Long. With me, as always, been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, other places. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, just give it a like. And please tell your friends about us, because we need exposure. We need to be exposed to the public.
Well, I mean, not like that.
Now, face reveals. Dox both of us.
Please don't.
Don't dox us, please. Have a good one, and stay safe out there, people.
You don't have to stay safe if you don't want to. I'm okay with it either way.
Okay. Well, Jake doesn't care about your safety, but I do.
All right, bye.
Goodbye.